Running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel.
Good morning to you. It is Coffee In on ON Radio, Wednesday, March 19th. It is St. Joseph's Day. Thanks for joining us around the Coffee and table. My name's Joe Callahan, by the way. There's John Ward. Good morning to you, John.
Hey, there I am.
And,
good morning, everyone.
Tim Draper's here. Good morning to you there, Tim. And we'll get to why Tim is in just a second. And Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities is here. Hi, Melissa.
Morning, everybody.
Melissa was very generous. She stopped over to Wright's Dairy Farm and purchased... Well, yesterday.
And
how you kept them away from your kids is amazing.
Well, she wrote it on the box. Do not for Smith girls.
Yes. Oh, okay. And you bought 4. How do we pronounce these babies?
Zapalas. Well, I pronounce them.
Zapalas. Okay.
Zapalas.
Different.
That you brought it for the Coffee and sale.
Happy St. Joseph's Day.
St. Joseph's Day.
Thanks for bringing those in, Melissa.
This has been a tradition.
Fantastic.
I've been bringing these in to you guys every year for a
Yeah,
while. We used to make our own, and I think that's how I first started bringing them in. And
This is a lot easier, isn't
and
it?
then this is a lot easier. The kitchen thanks me.
We didn't have fun food like this on St.
I
Patrick's Day.
know.
We just have corned beef.
We have-
And it's
we-
hard to bring that in for breakfast. Unless you do it in hash.
I shouldn't say we don't make them anymore. We have 2 kitchens at St. Antoine Community. One is in the residence, a long-term care building, and one is in the assisted living building. And the assisted living building now outsources. It was always a smaller kitchen and much more harder to achieve making them all from scratch. The other building, the long-term care building, still makes theirs from scratch. But so when I was picking these up for the assisted living, I was... You know, it's part of my routine now. Grab them for here, grab them for some of our community partners. So I'll be on the road delivering some sweet treats.
Is that your first message?
It is. Yes, it is. Thank you, John. Moving right along. St. Antoine Community. Call 401-767-3500 if you'd like to have Zeppelins with us next year.
2 kitchens. You'll get a bill.
Thanks, Melissa. All right.
You're welcome.
Big things, or things just going on. First, we'll start nationally. So happy that the astronauts made it home safe.
Yeah.
Splashed down in the Atlantic Ocean yesterday afternoon, about 6 o'clock. But they haven't said it's going to still be a while before they get reunited with their families. They got
Such a
Well, they're in Houston. They'll all be there.
But they got to go through physical therapy and
Right, they can't go
walking.
home for a while.
That's right. So it's like wow. So
You know what's fascinating about that? Remember when the Apollo missions happened and you watched the grainy pictures on television of the capsule coming through the sky and landing? And the images that they had yesterday of that thing coming down, they were practically on top of it because they must have had a drone out there flying near it.
just watching
They were
it come
practically on top of it when it landed. And when they were done, you saw 4K production of what they do. The dance that they do with those high-speed boats and stuff when they put the capsule from the water to the back of it. I mean, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And such great quality video.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You're jumping to that, and I jump to like imagining living in that very small space for 9 months, as close. Like if any one of us buddied up for 9 months, we would be, or at least I would be pulling my hair out by that point, right?
Yes, it is a small space, but I think as small spaces go, it's probably about as big as this side of this first floor of this building.
Yeah.
Lengthwise.
But for 9 months.
But 9 months is quite
You think
a lot.
about like the bonding that's taken place, and then it's almost like you're going through a separation too, because you're going to be leaving that person and re-entering life again, and a lot of emotions.
You know, after a couple of months, so how you doing?
Yeah. Well, they were saying,
Fine.
they were talking to Mike Massimino
Miss you.
this morning on the Today Show, and they were talking about how when they come back now, everything is just going to be so much more difficult to do because of gravity, right? You've spent in space for so long, which you weren't expecting to be in. So there's no resistance to anything that you're doing. But now, standing up, walking, lifting things, everything is just going to be compounded. So they have to do a really strict regimen of physical activity, weightlifting and all this other
what has happened
performance
there,
stuff.
Unless they've been...
And their immune system.
They must be exercising.
They do, 2 hours a day,
I've seen treadmills on these things.
But
so
the other thing they said was...
so their muscles don't atrophy.
There's some resistance training that's an artificially set up resistance.
All right.
But
that's good.
You mentioned zero gravity, but I was noticing that every time somebody from NASA was speaking yesterday, they weren't calling it zero gravity. They
What do
call
they call
it microgravity.
Microgravity.
Oh.
Because
there's a little.
there is a tiny little bit of gravity there.
Well,
All
the,
right.
the bigger concern is their immune systems because they're up there now and they're in a
God.
sterile environment for basically now 9 months.
Yeah.
So
And now
their
they gotta
bodies
come back
have,
to this.
Yeah, they to this mess, and now they have to readjust. They have to get their
probably
immune
get a
systems all
cold, like,
tweaked out again.
immediately.
Probably.
What also, I mean, obviously they were out there for a lot longer than anticipated, and I kept thinking about food source. Like, I never really read into like how much food supply was stored on that particular capsule, but like when would it have run out? Like, was that a discussion
they-
that
were
anyone
they-
heard
were they
of?
sending it
Yeah, they kept
food up?
sending resupply when
Okay.
they do the resupply
Yeah,
rockets.
you can do it unmanned.
That's
I'm
okay.
sure they did unmanned crafts. that
I
go
think
up
I
there.
must have missed
All
that
the
part
time.
of the. I
Yeah.
wasn't even thinking that they were getting deliveries like
they-
that, but yes.
It's like Uber for space.
Were they sent
A Tesla
Craving
showed
a
up.
Big Mac. Can you shoot one up
with
today?
food inside.
were they sent extra clothes?
Well, they look like they kind of wore the same stuff over and over again. I'm sure they washed them.
I'm
sure there's a
Oh my
washing
God, there's
dryer.
a laundry
There's a
exchange.
laundromat up there?
Send up fresh, send back
right.
They
dirty.
should send down at least another.
There's a dry cleaner up
there. All right. Well, I'm glad they made it back and they're back safe and they're all happy. It's just amazing every time they checked in with them. So how's it going? It's all right.
No,
We need you to stay for another month. All right.
Well, what was the movie with Matt Damon? Was it Martian
Oh
or
yeah,
something?
it was the Martian. Yeah.
I guess you have
What a
that like
great movie.
vague. I mean, very different, right? He grew a potato farm in space or whatever. But you just think about that a little bit. Like that's a lot of alone time with yourself.
Yeah, Tom Hanks on
Evaluating life.
on
Castaway.
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 Yeah.
Yep. with the
4 years on
volleyball.
an island by himself. Yikes.
Wilson.
Wilson.
All right. Other things going on a little closer to home. There was a fire in Lincoln off of Old Lewis Quisset Pike. This was Tuesday morning. Broke out in the basement. And when the fire crews got there, the owner says, well, yeah, the fire's in the basement, but can you go down there and save the chickens and the parakeet and the iguana?
Oh, geez.
A dragon iguana. Not a little one, a kind of a bigger one. And they did. Let's hear it for the firefighters.
Way to go.
Yeah. Draw the
No
line on
injuries, and they went down there and they saved.
Chief Walsh and his crew.
Yeah, and they had 12, and I think they all survived,
Well,
and the parakeet and the iguana. So
Is the iguana in a cage
I don't
Probably.
know.
or just chilling in the basement?
well, I'm sure.
I don't know what kind of
There's got to be
roaming
some sort of.
agent he had. So would they go after the chickens?
Come
if they
here,
were
boy.
alive?
Like,
I
how
don't-
do you? I'm just trying to picture.
I don't know,
I'm-
but he had an
I'm always
iguana.
amused when they say it's just off of Old Lewis Quisset Pike because Old Lewis Quisset Pike literally runs down the middle of Lincoln from the North Smithfield border to the North Providence border.
so true.
The entire town of Lincoln is
So
off.
give
Old
anchor
Lewis
us a
Quisset
little
Pike.
bit. Which side?
Oh, it's not going to tell you.
We don't have the actual street, so I don't know
It's not important to
which
the story.
side.
It's
No,
just-
the important thing
The
is
fact
that
that the street is
It's
as
just
long as
kind
it
of
is
humorous.
important.
the important thing is
Everything's
the
off
animal.
Old
It's
Lewis
off of
Quisset
95.
Pike. Yeah,
The animals survive. So
off of 95 in Rhode Island. Oh, it's not in one socket then.
So this, so
Wow,
this,
that is passive aggressive right there.
All right, this did not affect me, but I know where this took place. They had a problem on 495 South in Rentham, where they blew up the rocks and the rocks landed on the highway.
Yeah, yeah.
Now this is right near
I saw the picture
the
of
outlets.
that. Yeah. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
out.
that's
that
where
was.
that's where they're. Because I see all the construction up in the rocks.
Yeah.
So and that's where it's gonna. So massive delays were reported after blasting operations led to a rock slide. Huge rocks blocking part of the roadway. Heavy equipment had to be brought in to clear away the debris. No injuries, so that's good. The highway was completely reopened after about 2 hours once the debris was cleared and damaged guardrail was replaced. So it was really like the first and middle lanes. They were covered in rocks and
Yeah.
good sized boulders, so everyone had to get over into the high speed lane. And that's just going to slow things down.
Some engineers going to get a little warning on that one.
Yeah.
How did you not know?
Yeah, did you
They're
not put
they're
those
just
tires
jealous
on
of
there?
the California mudslides.
So, all right. I don't want to get into this one later. It just surprised me. There seems to be a little infighting amongst the Democrats.
No.
Yes, Elizabeth Warren is not
It
happy
don't
with
say.
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
Because Chuck sided with the Republicans to keep the government going.
Throw them out of the tribe.
And she's questioning that. Should you be the leader of the Democratic Party? I'm like, boy, one strike and you're out in that group. You do something wrong that we don't like, and boy, we're thinking about kicking you out.
It's amazing. You listen to James Carville,
Yeah.
and he is all about, listen, they won. just sit back, let them do what they want to do, because it's not going to work. I mean, his theory is it's just not going to
Yeah,
work.
just wait for it to fail.
Wait for it to fail, and then you will recapture what you need to recapture. This is a brief period of time, but the people in the House and Senate right now are so apoplectic about the whole thing that they keep doing dumb things that are actually helping Trump.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that some people are actually saying they want to have AOC primary Chuck Schumer for Senate seat. And I have to wonder, is that so that they can get rid of Schumer or they can get rid of AOC?
But so Warren actually called that Chuck Schumer actually said he was wrong to support the Republican spending bill. She did not go on to say, should we kick him out? That'll come later, maybe. But she also kept urging all the Democrats to continue fighting the Trump administration's efforts to slash federal funding, saying what they are doing is illegal.
So she just wants the federal government to continue to spend money
Yes.
at the level that it spends it at.
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Want to make sure everybody was clear about that.
Because
We don't have any
helps
waste.
her.
We don't have any problems.
No.
Everything's going great. Hunky-dory. We have no problems with housing. We have no problems with mental health. We have no problems with any of that stuff. Because what we're doing is great.
I'm tending to agree with James Carville, not to the benefit of the Democrats, but I have a fear that with everything going on in the Middle East, that Trump's efforts there and domestically are going to collapse on him.
I've seen on Facebook where they go out and they found like old clips, old news conferences of Bill Clinton and Barack Obama saying we got to slash all the ways.
Exactly the same words, practically.
Yeah, that's right. And so, they didn't do it as much, and Trump's doing it now. All the Democrats are mad that he's doing
Well,
it.
it's interesting because they said it. Probably never really thought they would do it, but they said it for
Yes.
a political purpose. Trump said it, and he's actually doing it. And you just wonder, what's the actual right thing?
Yeah.
What
I
is
think
the
it's
right
it's
thing?
the approach, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that all of us disagree with some of these decisions, even myself. But it's just the approach,
Yeah.
and it's the method behind it, and it's the pound your chest. I can do what I want to do.
The other part that's difficult with this is when Democrats speak of slashes to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, they don't. Those are not a defined cut. Where if you were to ask Musk and Trump, they're not looking to cut the benefit to the people. It's to cut the bureaucracy out of how you get that benefit. Now, maybe there's something in those laws that is to cut the benefits, but nobody's clearly enough defining that yet to say whether or not Trump is the jerk for taking away benefits that people desperately need while clearing out the bureaucracy, or if the Democrats are just exaggerating like they always do to claim that Republicans are going to literally take the blood out of your body. It's hard to differentiate between the two.
But I think in any company, and we talked about this a little bit a few weeks ago, you have, leadership and managers and all the tiers within an organization for a reason to hold their employees accountable, have performance evaluation tools, blah, 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 blah. And in every company, there's cutbacks, there's budget reductions, et cetera, and you have to find ways to consolidate positions, cut out the dead waste, like that. We're skipping ahead without actually doing the proper steps to allow those chains of command to do their job effectively, go within their own departments, find out where they can trim. Everyone can trim. Even in nonprofit land, we can all trim. We're asked to trim a lot, but we do it because we have to. You find a way. I think it's that blanketed rollout that there's not a lot of information on the details. And you just said, and I have to agree, like we don't know where, when they talk about Social Security or they talk about Medicaid, and my example of what we're dealing with, where the cuts are. If it's administrative and in the main offices, or if it's at CDC, whatever department we're talking about, or if it's affecting the direct people. And there is a trickle effect all the way down, because in our case right now, we're fearing that the Medicaid cuts they're talking about are going to impact reimbursement for us. We finally just got an increase for the first time in like 6-7 years, which is ridiculous. Finally got that increase. We're afraid we're going to lose it. If not, have a freeze to all of reimbursements for Medicaid, right? We already know that there's license hang-ups happening for any agency trying to open up a new site, or in our case, our new memory care unit still doesn't have the Medicaid license yet. It's been waiting now for 8 months. Like we're sitting here. And the trickle effect is what? Are the cuts in the main office, which is affecting that license, but it does have an effect all the way on the people, right? Because I've got people on a wait list wanting to come in, deservingly to come in, and I preach about having Like, absolutely no discrimination against you because of your finances. We're here to serve all. We have allowances to have you live in our community, in our memory care assisted living, but that license is held up. So whether the funding cuts are happening in the main office or all the way, it's trickling and infecting everybody. So that's where that blanketed fear is coming from.
Fair enough.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. So, Melissa, another message, please.
Wow, I think I just
from
had
the
like
St.
another
Antoine
sort of
community.
semi-message. Let's think of something a little bit more. I know many of you aren't watching, but you really should just imagine right now what Tim Draper looks like shoving the Zeppelin in his mouth.
Go
online, you'll see it.
I'll just mention it's that time of year for 401 Gives. It's an annual. It's now, let's see, 7 years, 8 years. I think that the United Way has launched this annual event, and it's an opportunity to bring all nonprofits together into one platform and kind of just preach the need and the efforts to contribute and support them and the work that they're doing. And most nonprofits that register for this event have some project in mind that they're looking for funding for. Ours happens to be talking about memory care units. We've obviously just opened our Primrose Lane Assisted Living Memory Care Unit, but we already had in existence a skilled level memory care unit. It's our special care unit. It's in need of renovations and new furniture, so that is going to be the platform for 401 Gives for us this year. So if you're interested in supporting us and helping us achieve our goals, be sure to participate. 401 Gives starts April 1st, so jump on our website or jump on our Facebook page and get more information.
All right, Melissa, thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue. You can always call in comments or questions at 766-1240.
Integrity, trust, service. 3 words that sum up what you can expect from the Carew Investment Group at 2190 Mendon Road in Cumberland, Rhode Island. Established in 1987, we've been helping local investors to build wealth and guide them through their golden years of retirement using quality stocks of companies that you know, many of which pay quarterly dividends. We also use investment-grade bonds and low-cost exchange-traded funds. To find out more about our services and for a quality conservative approach to investing, call us at 765-8880. Integrity, trust, service. The Carew Investment Group. Securities offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
Have more fun this winter. Come learn to ski and snowboard with us.
If it's been years since you last skied, this is the perfect place to return to learn.
Then you'll have all season to have fun.
Go to Wachusett.com for beginner discounts.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check you have gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For 70 years, we've been known as the Humane Society of the United States. But as the challenges animals face have grown, so have we. We are now called Humane World for Animals. And with you on our side, we are going to end animal cruelty around the globe. Join us. Humane World for Animals. The end of animal cruelty.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
It's Coffee In, right here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith, Tim Draper, and John Ward. And I don't know if Melissa or Tim heard what's going on with the homeless situation here in the city of Woonsocket, about how the city wants to give $10 gift cards to homeless people to clean up their encampments. Have I got that right, John?
You do.
Okay.
What is that going to do?
I don't know. I think it's way too $10. I think it's way too little.
As a matter of fact, they're specific to products that they can buy, from what I understand. It's supposed to be for personal care products. I don't know how you do
Why
that.
wouldn't you just give them the
never
products?
heard of such a thing.
Why wouldn't you just deliver
Because
care
then
bundles?
they'll market it so they can get cash for it and use it.
What are they going to do with a gift card? They're going to go into Walmart and they're going to get what they like. I'm confused.
You can't get a nip with a gift card.
But how? But what's to stop them from buying a ring dings?
I don't know. That's the magic of this. I'm trying to find the answer to that. I don't know.
And then other people are just saying, well, they're just going to take it. They're going to go up to people on the street and say, I've got a $10 gift card to here. Can you just give me $10? I want the cash.
Right. And
then they're going to go buy whatever they want with
nips.
that. Or they're going to look at it and just say, $10 is nothing, and just throw it away.
The funny
Maybe
thing
not
is,
throw it away.
The funny thing is, the people who logically would tend to clean up after themselves for $10 are probably the people that are not drug-addled and are not suffering from some mental health affliction, and therefore oftentimes have a job but can't afford the rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they have income. Do they need that $10? Is it the $10 they need?
Well, no.
Or is it the $1,000 they need to be able to afford an apartment? So it's a...
And the $10 will add up over time. I get it, but it just seems so little. Now, the other question I have for you, John, some of these homeless encampments in Woonsocket, are they on private land?
There are homeless encampments on private land, and I don't know if the property owners are even aware of it all the time.
Well, let's reach out to them and say, this is what's going on the property you own, and I don't care if you're in Ohio or Texas. It's your problem. And if you don't come take care of it, we're going to take care of it.
Well,
or we're going to take your land.
Several things. If that homeless encampment was on my front lawn and I didn't do anything about it, the city would come and cite me.
Okay.
And I would have to pay a fine if I didn't clean it up. But if it's in the woods on somebody's private land that's part of a plaza or something like that, nobody's getting a citation because I don't know why the rules don't apply. But there was a resolution to send them all a letter from the solicitor's office, and that turned into a brouhaha because it came down to questioning the liability if you do that, or what's the liability for the property owner once you notify them. A whole bunch of things that came up, and I had suggested that the letter be sent, but that it go with a separate page that would describe to the property owner their legal rights under the law to remove somebody and how they go about doing it, so they could process properly, because you don't want to just go out there and start plowing your land and taking people's possessions. I know the city can do it, but I don't know whether a person could do that on their own property without being charged criminally with something. It's a very complicated problem. And I'll give you another example. I saw one, and I don't even know who owns the land, but I was taking my dog up the Blackstone River Greenway in Blackstone, and as I got across the first bridge that crosses a river, there was a path going down to the right towards the river, and there's a homeless encampment out there in the woods. So they're not just in Woonsocket, they're everywhere.
Tim and Melissa, John said, well, we're going to cite these private landowners. Do you think I think the site holders, not the site holders, the landowners, would just laugh at any citation. Oh, we're going to fine you $1,000. Big deal. Great, yeah. And throw that one out.
Right. Well, when they have to sell their property, they'll have to come clean with it. But.
All right. Well, we'll wait till then. That could be 5 years from now.
Could be. John said it. It's just a complicated problem.
The important thing is the city can't go in there on private property and remove the encampments either.
Even if
it's not their property.
Could the property owner request it?
They would have to first cite the property owner and say, if you do not remove it,
we
will remove it, and we will put a value on it and put a lien on your property for that value.
All right, that may make them sit up and take notice.
Well, either that or they'll say, yeah, go ahead, come on, please take care of it.
Okay. Melissa, what's the answer?
I don't have an answer.
I know.
And you don't have a Zapla either.
No, we've circled on this, the homeless issue, obviously, in this state and the country, and I don't know the resolve. I keep thinking, you just need to, who's interviewing, who's sitting down with them and understanding, the complexity of their individual situation and what motivates them to want to continue to be homeless and obviously we've talked about the fact that they don't want help, and this is just their way of planting and squatting and these gift cards that you referenced in the beginning of the conversation, it's I don't think that's the solution either, but I don't complain about a suggestion or an idea without providing something in place of it, but I don't have anything to offer as an idea. So kudos to the person who's trying something. We're squashing it with negativity, saying I don't think that'll work, and I feel bad for having that attitude, but I'm not sure what the solution is.
And that's, you just expressed what 100% of the people said, which is, thank you for your sympathy for them and your attempt to do something, but I don't think it's the best idea, and I don't have a solution.
Yeah.
Everybody says it's exactly the same thing, because I don't know anybody that has a serious worth consideration 100% solution to the homelessness problem. And it's getting worse, and that's why I'm not optimistic about the future of many things, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East, or Europe and Russia and Ukraine, or the United States and the homelessness problem and our economic outlook, because I don't think the way they're going about governing right now is so sloppy that it's undermining. One of the things that markets love is stability and predictability, and right now that's the last thing we've got going for us. And of course, the valuation of homes, the affordability is just through the roof crazy, and so I hate to say it, I've said it before in other places. You know what stops all of these things from happening very quickly? War.
Okay. And I know the emotional argument is just people just get rid of them and tell them you can't stay here. Well, where do we go? We don't care.
Yep.
Walk down the road and walk to another community.
Yep.
But then
I know it's an emotional argument, and you can't really do
it's
that.
the same thing in another community.
I know, but it's not our community, Tim.
I think we should.
You deal with it over there.
Should
not my backyard, please.
We should bust them all to East Greenwich.
There you go. Hang out on the water. But I know, and there's some people that want to be homeless, but then there's the others that are there by circumstances, and they don't want to be homeless, but can't get out of it. And you can't lump them all together.
I feel like those
and then
are the
there's
people,
a mental health problem.
I feel like those are the people that the community organizations around the state are really trying to help first. It's those people who are in a homelessness situation because of a circumstance. There's a lot of good work out there, and even for all that's to be said about the pallet shelter, right? It's full. It's a temporary solution. There's a group of people that are stationed in that community that are there to help people who find themselves in there temporarily to get out and find permanent housing and find houses that are affordable for them, because many of them have jobs that are in there, right? It's not just you can't be a drug addict and a user and abuser and be in that village. I don't believe there's an interview process to get in.
Okay.
It's more about the people who find themselves circumstance not in there.
But then you have these people that, let's say you rehab them, right? Like they're in there, they're supported, they're getting their bearings again, and they're back on their feet. And it's like a hamster wheel. Then you're getting them out into the workforce, and then they're trying to afford their expenses and living and balancing, whether it's rent and utilities and clothing and kid things. And then, you might get food stamps, you might get some other supports, but it's freaking expensive everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're someone who's on low income support needs right now or someone who's making plenty of money. There's bigger problems than just getting people on their feet and doing the right thing and trying to help them out. They're going to get out there and they're going to be walloped. And then they're going to say, this is hard and I am hustling and this is hard. And it was easier when, and somebody simpler when
giving me stuff.
And I feel like that's the issue. So it's got to be beyond that even.
That's not going to change. I don't ever see that changing.
John,
the cost of living is going to be what it is.
All right. Could Woonsocket put pallet shelters like they have in Providence?
Don't you dare.
What do you mean? You don't know what I'm going to say.
I have no desire to see them spend $140,000 for a pallet shelter.
All right.
Anywhere
in the city.
And certainly not in the city. Where were you thinking of?
Off Hamlet Avenue.
Off Hamlet Avenue.
That with the.
You mean the privately owned property?
Well, I'm going to go. I said, well, that's another problem. But is it privately owned or public?
We already have a bridge
across from the middle schools.
We already have 2 bridge shelters that are under the Hamlet Avenue Bridge, one on each side of the river. That we didn't set up; they set them up themselves.
So
you're never going to get that approved across from a school.
I don't want.
Well, and it's privately owned. So
and the berm that's across from the middle school on the riverside is actually a levee, and you can't do that. And that's where if they ever bother to extend the bike path through the city, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So my question, John, for you is
there's people living off the bike path too.
I agree with you. $140,000 for a shed is stupid, right?
Yes.
That's ridiculous. Is there a price point that makes that sort of a little more tolerable? If you could do that for
buy them for
$20,000
$50,000 from Amazon. You can buy one for $50,000 from Amazon. It comes with its own kitchen even.
Well, granny pot.
Okay. So
all you got to do is hook up the utilities.
The issue is that we, as a state, put all those stupid regulations and
Except
stuff
the fire
in the
department
state.
would come in and say it's probably not sufficient for Rhode Island.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's
That'll take it up
probably
another 20 grand.
There's probably a way to do that, but we've just shot ourselves in the
No,
foot as
there
we
is
always do.
In Rhode Island, there is no way to do that because it's like, did you see the articles just recently about how the lawmakers are getting together to talk about utility costs, and they're going to work on fixing it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Aren't they the ones that created the problem?
They created the problem with all the fees they had,
Right.
with
You
the
have to buy green
separation,
energy.
with the restrictions on where the utility can buy the electricity from. They must use the renewable resource, which is 15 to 50% more than it would be for them to buy nuclear or gas. The state of New York won't let the gas line go through. It'll come to New England. It could lower our gas price bigly, as they say. And so we're stuck under these state regulations that squeeze us out of our money because it raises the cost. So we go complain to the state, and they say, "Oh, we're going to get together and fix this for you."
But that's my.
Are you people crazy?
That is my point, though, is that we create the situation. We could solve some of these problems. I think that there are some solutions out there that could be done and done in a cost-effective manner. But we have these arcane rules that are done in the name of safety, and we're concerned about people. And listen, people living on the street is unsafe, I think, inherently. Put them in a house in a controlled environment where they can get services, to me, is a better solution. And if you can do it in a cost-effective manner without handcuffing yourself with all these crazy rules and regulations, listen, it's emergency, it's temporary. Let's just do that.
All right, we're going to take a break on the Coffee and program right now. We'll take a break. Everybody take a breath. Have some Zeppelins.
Not much left, I think.
All right, time for the weather forecast.
Stress eating.
Being brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Sunny skies today with a high of 61 degrees and a calm wind. Tonight, areas of drizzle, otherwise increasing clouds, overnight low of 37 and a breeze from the east. Thursday's weather, cloudy skies all day with a high of 55, calm wind, patchy drizzle possible. Thursday night, 80% chance of rain, maybe a quarter to a half an inch of rain overnight Thursday night. Friday, continued rain, mainly in the morning, though, with a high of 47 and starting to clear slowly as the day goes on. Breeze from the northwest at 30 miles per hour. Saturday, mostly sunny and a high of 58. Sunday, sunshine and 48. Monday, 50% chance of rain, partly sunny and 48. South wind up to 25 miles per hour Monday. More rain Monday night, and on Tuesday, partly sunny skies, high of 56.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies, we have 38 degrees. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. All things vintage and collectible can be found at Timeless Antiques and Collectibles. The 3,000 square foot store is packed with unique treasures from days gone by, including rare coins, vintage jewelry, and much more. Whether you're a serious collector or just looking for a one-of-a-kind gift, Timeless Antiques and Collectibles has something for you. Frank and Tammy Irwin are always on hand to answer your questions and help you find exactly what you're looking for. And with new items arriving all the time, you never know what kind of gem you'll discover. Visit Timeless Antiques and Collectibles, 91 Main Street, Woonsocket today, and step back in time.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
All right, it is Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward and Melissa Smith and Tim Draper. And Tim, time for your first message from the Navigant Credit Union.
I would like to piggyback on Melissa's last message about 401 Gives.
I was like, what did I say?
Our foundation that I am now responsible for does a lot of great things in the community. In the last 3 years, we've given back about $1.5 million to lots of organizations, like Melissa's, like to the housing, to a housing impact and food insecurity, mental health, all the things that we've actually been talking about here. We've tried to help support those nonprofit organizations out there in the world to carry on the missions that they're going to do. So on April 1st, 401 Gives. If you want to give to St. Antoine Community Direct, please do so. If you're not sure what you want to do and you want to help an organization that might have some wider impact, and Navigant Credit Union will be on there as well, the Navigant Credit Charitable Foundation. But I don't want to take any money out of Melissa's pocket.
I'm okay with it. You guys give us a lot.
Because I know how important all the work that
us.
you do is. But there are people out there that are like, yeah, I don't know, that's not my thing, but mental health might be my thing, or housing or whatever.
How are old people not your thing?
Well, 50% of them are, so that's a good thing.
There you go.
And I'm one of them, surprisingly enough, at this stage of my life. But I think this message is a little more about philanthropy in general. It's about being generous and giving when you have the ability to do so. There's a lot of need out there. The nonprofits right now are going to get crushed with all these changes that are going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on organizations like ours, church organizations, to really try to help whenever we can. It doesn't have to be money, by the way. To Melissa's point, it could be volunteerism. It could be going out and giving 4 or 5 hours a week to an organization to help out. So if you find yourself in a position where, hey, you know what, I do want to do something good in the community, either give some money to one of our organizations through 401 Gives, or just go out and make some connections and help out when you can. That's my message. Navigant Credit Union.
Very good, Tim. Thanks. All right, moving on. We did get a note called in, 766-1240.
They have a solution to the housing crisis.
Yes,
they
they
do
do.
not. No, it's a completely different subject. John, really, because I don't think Melissa or I or Tim will have any updates on this, but is there any updates about CVS leaving Woonsocket? I know
Every week, this is a standard question.
It's a big rumor. I don't hear anything from them saying we're leaving, other than they're laying off people. But
there has been silence. They're laying off people, but they've changed CEO, so they're getting reorganized.
Okay.
I have no idea how that's going to play out. I suspect they will shrink their footprint in Woonsocket and elsewhere as they re-separate the Aetna portion of the business, move it back over to Hartford, and maybe do, because there's a lot of pressure for their what's that division that they use to buy drugs and get credit pricing and all that crap.
Pharmacy, no, thanks.
Not pharmacare.
I know what you.
PBMs.
Oh yeah.
That they operate under Caremark, and there's a lot of pressure from the feds to try to kick that out of the business because they consider it sort of to be price fixing, and they scrape up all the profits off the pharmaceuticals. Now I'm hearing about maybe they're going to take pharmaceutical ads off the TV. So I don't know how all of that's going to affect CVS's marketability and size, but I suspect they'll be shrinking their footprint. It's just a hunch, and that will affect Woonsocket and the state of Rhode Island. And of course, with a smaller footprint and a smaller employment base, who knows if they might end up being the next one that goes to a Boston suburb or the city of Boston.
Okay.
A la Hasbro's.
Well, they haven't yet.
Okay.
They have not made that announcement yet.
Not yet.
I'm surprised, actually. I really thought they would have
And
made it
nothing's
by
happened
now.
yet?
But we'll put it this way. As far as I know, it's been silence related to renewing their tax stabilization agreement that expires in December of 2027.
All right. We don't have the final numbers yet in from the St. Patrick's Day Parade down in Newport from the police, but we have them in from the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Boston from the police. And they made 9 arrests, and 4 people were issued a summons.
Those numbers, I thought you were going to say attendance at the parade.
No, not attendance.
No.
We're talking about police situation, police numbers. Boston police said of the 13 facing charges, 12 are adults, 1's a juvenile, and the charges range from assault and battery, disorderly conduct, and disturbing the peace, to assault and battery on a police officer and property destruction. So, less than last year.
I was going to say, the actually number was pretty low.
I saw this video that this young woman made of the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Southie.
Yes.
She goes about describing all of the people there and what they're doing there. It's hilarious. I can't even figure, a way to say it all. But the one that struck me was where she goes over to a place where it's sort of in a corner with a wall, just a wall there, and there's a whole bunch of people there. She said, this is where you go to do your business or throw up.
Well, as long as it's a designated place.
And then she shows a bar. This is where you go to get a drink before the parade. This is where you go after the parade.
And she wasn't kidding. She was being completely serious. Okay, well, I'm going to be sick. You got to go over there.
Yeah. Except it was laced with profanities.
Well, I'm sure. Okay. A JetBlue flight that took off from Boston yesterday morning at 9:19 had to return. They got all the way to Albany and said they had to turn around. And so and then they got back around 11, and then they kept circling, and then they could land at noontime. They didn't really say what the problem was, but the crew was reportedly concerned about a potential hydraulic electrical issue. So the poor people on the JetBlue flight.
I think we need to not report these stories anymore because
it seems
I'm
like
supposed to fly soon, and I've never been worried about it, but the amount of stories, and I think it's just oversharing. Yeah.
Well, I think once you get one story on and it seems to get traction, it's like all of a sudden the copycat stories or let's repeat this next story, and you're trying to find everything about a particular industry or what have you.
It's freaking me out.
Yeah,
lots of stuff.
Right.
But I think it was always there. Is my point. Like I think it was always there. We just
I think
hear about it
planes turn around for mechanical issues all the time.
All the time.
And they just.
I have a question, Joe.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Do you pay taxes? Well, you don't pay them to
Can we
Rhode
talk
Island.
about March Madness?
You do pay them to Rhode Island.
I work here.
You pay taxes to Rhode Island.
Yes,
you pay taxes
I do.
to Rhode Island.
Of course.
All right. So,
oh boy.
$3,000 for baby bonds to go to every kid born. Set aside $3,000 for 18 years in an interest-bearing account for every child born next year to a family qualifying for public assistance.
How much will they get after 18 years?
Whatever the interest it earns in the state investment pool.
What's the point so that they go to college
education, right?
Because
but if you don't go,
they're
you just
needy baby bonds. They're just needy kids.
Yeah.
My question is, now I remember when I worked at a little general store back when I was in college, and a guy came in, got out of his Cadillac, came into the store, bought a couple of things, and gave me some food stamps. And I was kind of surprised. He looked at me and he said, I got laid off. I needed to feed the kids. I didn't ask him, but he offered.
Okay.
And I understand it. He was working at Electric Boat, an engineer. He had gotten laid off. He needed to pay the bills. So I'm thinking, if you qualify for assistance, SNAP benefits, for a year because you got laid off at Electric Boat, or you got laid off from the government office because you worked for the feds. You qualify for a year, you've got a kid. Do you now get $3,000 set aside for that kid that 18 years from now they get free and clear?
Yes.
I don't get this.
Yeah.
Are they going to be people who have to be dependent for 18 years? Or is this just I qualified for food stamps for 3 months and therefore I'm going to get $3,000?
Yes.
But if
that's how it always works.
More government solving problems.
Yeah.
Huh? I have a problem with that. Just like I had the problem last year when they set up the retirement fund thing through the state treasury, where, as my brother pointed out so well and so often, there's nothing to prevent small business people from investing in a retirement account on their own as it is. Why do we need the state treasurer's office to do that too?
Funny, I did that.
Yeah.
Open up an account with Ed Carew.
All right,
Yeah,
so
this is
that's
for
all you have to do.
retirement. Oh, okay.
Put your money aside in the retirement fund. IRAs.
Yeah.
Roth IRAs.
That's
So
what
the
they're there
question
for.
is that I have.
Why does the government feel like they have to do the job that you're supposed to do?
Right, so
yourself?
I don't understand that, because if you get to the point where you're ready to go to college, you want to go to college, but you can't afford it through economic circumstances.
That ain't gonna do it.
Number one, that's not going to do it. But number two, the college is going to take care of it for you. You're going to get financial aid. You're going to go in for nothing.
If you need it at that time.
Right.
Not when you're born.
Right, so why are we doing that? Right,
They're
why
not
are we
going to
doing
check to see if mom had SNAP benefits when
right,
you were born.
why are we doing it now? Because we don't know what that child's going to do when
Why?
they're ready to go.
Because the state treasurer's name is James Diosa.
We're going to have a conversation with James.
All right, we gotta take another break, but first, you want a good story about airlines, Melissa?
Is this a good one? Really a good one, though?
For those of you that can't see my face right now, the look I'm
she's
giving Joe is like, are you
very
serious?
skeptical.
Yeah.
Staple thrown at him.
Frontier Airlines is flying check bags for free because Southwest will not do it anymore. So they announced the end. So Frontier says the new promotion on there's always a caveat. Select flights in an effort to bring in rebound customers moving away from Southwest. Passengers will need to book a nonstop flight between now and August 18th. To earn a free check bag with, I guess it's just one, to earn a free check bag with the economy bundle on top of a free carry-on
do you know what I'm about to
and
say to
seat
you?
selection,
No.
the flight will need to depart between May 28th and August 18th, and then it all goes away. What?
Do you work in marketing?
I do.
I work in marketing.
Lousy idea?
Why aren't we burying the bag fees into the price of the ticket? Why would Southwest even consider announcing we are no longer? I don't understand even why they would.
Promoted it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if that's your platform, if that's your thing that's always drawn people to your airline, why wouldn't you just bury those $40,
prices
$60
went up by a little
into?
bit. Because they can lower the price less than the cost they would charge you for putting the bag checking the bag. And this all came about as a result of the stockholders telling them, go out and make us more profit. And no other airline lets people put their bags on for free. So we need to stop and do our pricing competitively with other airlines.
Let me ask you a question.
Their intent is to make more money.
I totally get all that. I don't travel that often. You travel Breeze often. You go see family down south.
Yeah.
You're maybe, I don't know, Tim, you travel a lot.
Not as much.
But none of us in this room travel weekly to the same spot to be able to say, I'm measuring that.
We're
Last
not
week
in
I
the-
paid 200. This week I'm paying 200. All of a sudden, next week I'm paying 450. No one's measuring it that closely because every flight, every time, every day, the
changing.
price changes. So that's the thing where I'm like, why wouldn't you just keep your marketing message the way that it is and just
Bury that cost.
bury it in? Because no one tracks it that closely. It's not like filling your gas tank every week
The one thing Southwest is doing, and I'm not sure what the other airlines' policies are, is if you get your credit card through Southwest credit card, you will still get your bags
right.
free.
There's ways to get your bags free. On the
Yeah.
airline. It's just as the families.
Depends
are
on
just,
how many credit cards you want to have.
Right. I don't. Whenever I travel, my goal is to try to pack everything into my carry-on that I can throw in over the top. But at Frontier, at least I'll be able to put it under my lawn chair as I sit.
Some people even charge for the carry-on now.
Yeah.
Some of them do.
Some do, yes.
Yep.
All right, break time once again here on the Coffee and program. So, Tim, time for your second message, please, from Navigant Credit Union.
Yeah, just look outside, everybody. The weather is beautiful, and that gives us spring hope. Was it spring? Hope springs eternal. So, yeah, we're excited about the weather breaking, and that's going to mean projects, outside projects. We moved out of the house from the winter projects, and now we're outside doing maybe putting a patio in or a new deck on, or maybe you're looking to just take a little equity out of the house to do a pool. Whatever you're looking for in terms of lending, a loan relationship, please give Navigant Credit Union a shot. It's a great place to do business. We have a wonderful office here in Woonsocket under the direction of Christian Velasquez. He's a great manager. You can go in and see that team. You could do it online if you don't like people. You could do it right on the
I hate people.
You could do it online. Fill out the application right there. You'll find out whether you're approved or referred, and that just might mean you have to come in and talk to people at some point. But we pretty much have all your lending needs at Navigant Credit Union, and we love people. So you could come in and see us at any time. We're happy to see you at 1280 Park Avenue or 233-4700. You can give us a call or visit us online at navigantcu.org.
All right there, Tim. Thanks. And the Coffee and program will continue here on ON. The Broaster House is noted for its delicious chicken and seafood. Chicken includes broasted family packs and chicken family style, but they also serve other favorites like ribeye steak, meatloaf, and hot turkey sandwich. Try their great tasting steak sandwich, always ribeye, clam rolls, and turkey clubs. The Broaster House is at 263 Pond Street, Woonsocket. They welcome small parties and collations. Gift certificates are available year-round in any denomination. For takeout, call the Broaster House at 401-762-1717.
Hey, it's Lamar from the Bob and Sherry Show. Everyone knows that I love food, but I also realize that I need to be healthy. And I have found that PhD Weight Loss is able to help me with both. I'm getting healthy and without needle sticks and medications or gimmicks. and I'm not walking around hungry. In a little over 2 months, I've lost over 40 pounds. I feel great. The PhD weight loss program is working for me, and it can work for you too. Right now, PhD is offering the first 11 callers 2 free weeks added to their weight loss program. Plus, when you fully commit, you'll get a 15% discount, receive a free weight loss and energy supplement bundle, and your program will be backed by the PhD weight loss, get results, or get your money back guaranteed. So don't wait. Call now and mention Lamar for my 2 weeks free with my program. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com.
Join the Alzheimer's Association Rhode Island chapter for our free Caregivers Journey and Research Conference, Thursday, April 17th at the Crown Plaza in Warwick. Numerous breakout sessions, opportunities to connect with statewide resources, and professional respite care will be provided. Registration is required. Register today online at alz.org/RI. That's alz.org/RI.
All right, Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callan here with John Ward and Melissa Smith and Tim Draper. We were talking off air about, some people that we just don't like some people. and here's another good example of a good idea ruined by people.
Yeah.
All right. Some public schools in San Diego that allow the community to use their fields as parks are closing the shared spaces because the people are not picking up after their dogs.
Of course they're not.
Right.
So of course they're not.
Exactly. That's a
School officials in the city of San Diego have closed 5 of the 94 campus locations that have been used as a joint park space. The Union Tribune newspaper says it's because people are abusing the areas to let their pets go to the bathroom. The report says security fences that protect children while classes in session are also leading people to let their dogs off a leash and leave waste behind, impacting the health of the students when they return to school.
I have a solution to those social problems. Yes, it involves a rocking chair, an old gentleman with a floppy hat.
Get off my lawn.
Clint Eastwood.
Who's chewing
Clint
on
Eastwood
tobacco. And a 22, and having the hearing sound as the dog is squatting to do his business.
Mm-hmm.
And that will get picked up.
I think of that. You started to reference Gran Torino, but like that.
Clint Eastwood.
Bring it back.
Old guy on the front
bring
porch.
back the guy
Get
on
off
the
my
front
lawn.
porch with a little cooler of Bud Light next to him, and
That's right.
Well, this probably will come as no shock to the people around the table. New report by Wallet Hub says Montana is the best state for doctors. They compared all 50 states and Washington, D.C. based on average pay, number of hospitals, and public health system quality. Indiana comes in second. Hawaii and Rhode Island are at the bottom of the list.
There we
of
go.
course they are. Yeah, of course they
Worst reimbursement rates in the country.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there.
We wonder why we have a doctor problem.
Major doctor.
Another
problem.
solution created for us by politicians.
Yep.
They give us the worst reimbursement rates, and then they complain because there's no doctors available, home care services aren't available, nursing homes are going broke.
Yep.
And oh my God, what are we going to do? We're going to fix it. We'll make you staff your nursing home the way we say.
Yep.
That'll fix it. But we're not going to give you. Oh yeah, we're going to give you a little more money, but you must pass it through to the employees. Will you cover the taxes and insurance costs? No. Just the wage. Give them the wage.
Right.
You're covering the taxes and insurance, and if you don't, we're going to lower your reimbursement rate. There, we've solved the problem.
No, we're not in a healthcare crisis.
I mean, but the problem is that's just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
2 days ago, an article about RIPTA. How many millions they're short to do their job. Mm-hmm. Education. How bad it's become for education. Bridges. How bad it's become for. I mean, there's no.
This is why I want to just go curl up in my bed and close the sheets. These problems are so
every aspect of our
monumental.
state is underfunded and dysfunctional.
And we're
And
shipping.
the politicians
We're
who
shipping.
created it are telling us they're going to
shipping,
fix it.
I say
we're
we
shipping
merge with
doctors back
Connecticut.
to Lebanon too.
Oh yeah. No, we're just not letting them back in the country.
Well, we pick them up at the airport. Okay, go back.
Yeah.
Well, when
I know that's another
you
issue.
say it's only about religion, but you're following the people
The terrorists.
who are terrorists and demand that Israel be destroyed and every Jew on the planet be killed.
Yeah.
It's hard to use your defense as it's my religion. I just follow the beliefs of these people.
Yeah.
Well, they're terrorists, and you can go home now.
You want a good story, Melissa?
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Bring it up.
The Radio City Rockettes are celebrating 100 years.
This is what you went with. This is what
Actually,
you
are they
went
really?
with.
I'm pretty happy about that. They made it 100 years. I have never seen the Rockettes except on TV.
Have you ever been?
I have
been?
many
Okay.
times.
Oh,
Love it. It's a great show.
Well, there you go.
I did. We did a trip to New York when I was in the 8th grade, and we went at Christmas time to see the Rockettes.
Almost
Move
100
those
years.
cobwebs away.
He saw their inaugural show.
Agreed.
Now, the dance company started in St. Louis in 1925. They're the longest running dance company of its kind in the United States. And to celebrate the milestone, they're expanding their dancer development program, starting with the 2025 Rockettes open call auditions at Radio City Music Hall starting April 22nd. They're also launching Rockettes Legacy to honor all those who have high-kicked over the last 100 years by fostering lifelong connections for all former Rockettes and preserving their legacy through a living archive.
Don't you wonder how the concept started?
Right.
Like, let's get a bunch of beautiful women in little outfits and have them kick their legs really
As high as
high
they can go.
in high heels.
Yeah. And
Melissa
but you
stumped at that. How did that happen?
You got women to show up to do it.
But you
So,
did,
okay.
and you're fascinated by them whenever you watch them.
Now,
I mean,
what's
it's
the precision is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what's the rule on the Rockettes? Is there an age limit? After like
Probably.
29, that's it. You're out.
There's a height
Kind
limit,
of thing.
right?
There's
And
gotta
there's a
be.
length
Oh,
limit, and there's
is
all
there?
kind. Oh, I think there's like a lot of criteria about being
How
a
come
Rockette.
that's not?
They are all uniformed,
Yeah.
like very body
Perfect.
style.
They're all the same.
uniform.
They're all the same height. Okay, but why isn't that discriminatory?
It is.
Oh, well, all right. as long as it
It's
is.
no different
I'm
than
not
the
gonna complain.
The Dallas cowgirl
Cheerleaders.
cheerleaders. No
And it's
different.
Cowboys.
Well,
Cowboys, sorry.
Cowgirls. Well, they're cheerleaders and cowgirls. Well, that's probably what they should
You know
call
what I
them.
find fascinating? I just learned. So my cousin's daughter is actually a Patriots cheerleader.
Okay.
Every year, she just got picked up last year. Every year she has to re-audition. It's
Yeah.
not like you're given like a 5-year contract.
Or a
Every
2
year.
year.
And they don't get paid anything.
And they don't.
You know where they make their money? Personal showings.
Yeah.
They're-
She's on a
they're-
calendar.
That's where the money
and
is.
She does like special meet and greets and
Yeah, they make a ton
all
of
the
money.
events. Yeah.
I know that because we had Pat Patriot come and was like, and how much is it? And it's a mandatory 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he gets this amount of money. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we were able to raise it. We were able to get a sponsor for it. So I was like, oh,
We're
okay.
gonna get pause instead because that was a
So
little
and if
cheaper.
it's like if you want one Patriot cheerleader, it's $100. But if you want 2 or 3, I mean, it keeps going up.
Yeah,
Going
it
up.
goes up.
And then it's, do you want them to perform? Yes. Well, that's another like
Right.
$500. Or do you want them to just sit there and look pretty? Just sit there and look pretty and sign autographs.
You know, I tried to try it out for them. It didn't work for me. I was not a good Patriot cheerleader.
They take guys.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I wasn't good at that either.
I forgot to tell Tim, I don't know if you realized it, but between last week and this week, I actually got to sit on the hill at the 17th at TPC Sawgrass Friday.
Did you really? Did you watch
did.
the tournament? Oh man! Hey, Rory won. That was awesome. I like Rory.
I felt bad for Spawn though. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
When,
It was-
when he took, there was no wind on Saturday and Sunday, and it was all going pretty well for everybody.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the wind picks up, and I had seen the forecast before he flew out, and the wind was going to be pretty strong, and sure enough, it was. And it's amazing how much wind affects a golf ball. Yeah. But that poor guy took his 8-iron out, and he popped it up there, and it just flew all the way over the green.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. I sat there for almost 2 hours.
What hole did you sit on?
2 hours, and I only saw
17th.
one ball go in the water.
Wow.
It
Such a cool hole too.
It is cool.
So speaking of golf, then, are you looking forward to the Happy Gilmore 2
Yes.
movie that's
Very
coming
much
out?
so.
Melissa, not so much.
She could care less, but I thought Happy Gilmore one was great.
The film sees Adam Sandler reprise his role as the legendary golfer while dealing with facing the younger stars on the PGA Tour. As he makes his return to the course, things take a wild turn. The rest of the cast, well, obviously Bob Barker won't be there.
He
but,
won't be there.
Julie Bowen will be there. Christopher McDonald.
Carl
He
Weathers
was
won't be there either.
He was in
I
the
was
first
just
one,
gonna
wasn't
say.
There's a lot.
Christopher McDonald.
He was
Wasn't
in
he
that?
the first one?
Yeah, wasn't he the crazy guy?
Ben Stiller, Bad Bunny, Travis Kelce, and Sandler's daughters Sadie and Sonny. And they went and got some pro golfers to make cameos. John Daly, Rory McIlroy,
John Daly.
Bri-
That is a perfect movie for him.
Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, Bryson
I haven't heard of him.
He's the one that golfs with Trump.
And Scotty Scheffler.
Yep.
Scheffler.
Oh
Okay.
wow, that's a big name.
Will all make appearances in the movie. It
No
hits-
Tiger.
Well, not my list here.
Right. Maybe he'll make a special cameo.
It hits Netflix July 25th.
Well, right there's your answer. It's gonna be a Netflix.
They paid a lot of money for that.
I guess.
love Adam Sandler and all of his movies. I just think there's a line
you're
where
that
we're
person.
like we're older and it's not quite as funny anymore.
I
Let's
don't
just
know.
leave it alone.
It's a different humor that he can
It's
get
a
away with
different-
today. It's sort of like people who love Blazing Saddles. It's like, yeah, there's something you'll never see made again.
No.
But my daughter loves like Little Nicky. I just think that Adam Sandler movie is just so silly.
Oh yeah,
but
no.
she thinks it's
See, I like
funny.
50 First Dates is like one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
Grown Ups.
Rom-com.
Grown Ups was good. The second Grown Ups not good. I just you hear
Right.
Stop doing sequels.
Well,
What about The Longest Yard?
oh, I like the second longest yard. I like the second
I
longest
thought
yard.
the
It's
second
good.
was really good.
Hold on. Do you guys have your brackets in for March Madness?
No, not yet. I'm taking Bryant
Next
all the
week
way
we're
to the
underway.
championship.
Oh, stop.
There you go.
Stop, Tim.
I'm pumping the Bryant team up.
I know you're a diehard fan.
I am.
but
I'm a diehard. Bulldogs.
Are you going to stay up late
Go
on
Dogs.
Friday night to
Yep.
watch them
Go
play
PC.
against Michigan State? Go PC. Yeah.
You guys gotta do something. Your little sign on the wall is not capturing enough for what you
What?
do with
Oh,
Brian.
with Bryant?
You need to get Jersey Mike's spot on the floor.
Why don't you just hang on it?
I know.
Oh.
You know how much I know about
I
college.
like it.
You know how much I know about college basketball. I would never get past the first round.
I won
I'm
our
not sure
bracket
Bryant's
last
getting
year.
past
I
the
mean,
first
I'm
round.
excited.
I hope they do, but
I
Heavy
want this to be a
underdogs.
weekly.
I know.
You know.
Against Michigan State. So,
Right.
All right. We got to run. So thanks for listening in, everyone. Always appreciate it. Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And Tim Draper, thanks for being
Melissa,
here.
thank you for the Zaplas. They were fantastic.
You're welcome.
And John.
It's
thanks-
a beautiful
thanks-
day
thanks
in
for
the
being here.
neighborhood. It's going to feel like a little bit of summer today, so go out and enjoy the God-given day.
All right, this is Joe Callahan. Enjoy the day as well. Happy St. Joseph's Day. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do your members at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. Policing